Hello and a warm welcome to your local part of the show. Coming up, the green credentials of Middlesbrough Mayor Ray Mallon are under fire as he sends in the bulldozers to destroy this local woodland. We're here from angry residents and the Mayor himself.
And every week, 2 pubs are closing in the northeast and Cumbria. We'll be asking how we can save them and visiting this local that's reopened its doors.
More from the pub later, but Middlesbrough now, and it's a top performer it seems when it comes to the environment, at least that's the government's view. The council is one of only 6 in the whole of the UK to be given beacon status for its work in tackling climate change. But some residents say instead of protecting the environment, the council is hell-bent on destroying it. Fergus Hewison has this special report.
Leafy Longridge Wood in the Martin area of Middlesbrough, a tranquil place to walk the dog, take a stroll or go for a jog, among many other things. A place you might think a council given special status for its work on the environment would treasure. But this is the moment in December when the diggers and chainsaws arrived at Longridge Wood, felling trees to make way for around 70 new homes.
It's supposed to be a local area where people can walk the dogs or go for a walk or use it as a shortcut. Not everybody has a car. They walk to the shopping centre and knew they would just come along, and when thought everyone was at work, they would just do this.
I think that Ray Mallon's been really underhand doing it, you know, just moving in bully boy tactics, moving in the bulldozers, get it all done, and that's the end of it. Nobody can do nothing about it.
This week, Middlesbrough Council hosted a conference on climate change, but outside, things were getting noisy. These people are angry about what's happening to Longridge Wood. They're also unhappy with plans to fill in the lake and build on part of Central Gardens in Middlesbrough. This, argues the council, would help bring working tourists to the town. But directly elected Mayor Ray Mallon is in the protesters' sights.
The thing is, Ray Mallon and his beacon authority evangelise the environment and go on about it and bang and preach about the environment, how important it is, what a crisis the environment's in, how they're going to protect it, they're going to enhance the trees and preserve green spaces. But no sooner than the ink is dry on the big document that, you know, they're going to destroy this woodland and build on the lake.
He wants to make a concrete jungle, Mr. Mallon. He's not happy till he's concreted everywhere.
All they intend on doing is concreting over Middlesbrough. Green space is an evil word as far as Mr. Mallon is concerned.
The council argues the land at Longridge Wood has been earmarked for development for 25 years, and that new so-called executive housing needs to be built to stem the exodus of people from the town, 20,000 over the last 20 years. This has meant there are fewer people paying council tax, especially at the higher rates, harming the local authorities' finances. But these arguments didn't impress many local residents as they looked over what's left of their wood.
We've got enough houses, they're building houses everywhere. This is the last space that we've got in this area like this. And once it's gone, it can't be replaced.
Things have changed, and he should realise this. Things have changed, and he should realise this. We don't want a council that looked back 25 years, it's 2009.
And I like all types of wildlife. And there were wrens, robins, chaffinches, owls, roe deer, foxes. They all used that wood as a habitat. And now, it's gone.
As yet, the council has no firm commitment from a developer to build on this land, though it is in talks. This makes no sense, according to the local councillor.
There was no need to take the trees away. If they'd left the trees until they had a firm developer, it wouldn't have been so bad. But just to come in and take away our woodland without having anybody prepared to develop the land, to me is just absolutely, I think they've done it out of spite, to be honest.
The irony of all this is that Middlesbrough Council has what's known as beacon status for its work on improving the environment. It's planted 10,000 new trees across the town and intends to drastically reduce its carbon emissions over the next decade. But arguments over 2 green spaces seem to be undermining the environmental credentials of Mayor Mallon among many residents.
Fergus Hewison, some angry people there. Well, how does Middlesbrough Council answer their criticisms? Well, Fergus spoke to Mayor Ray Mallon and asked him first whether cutting down trees didn't undermine the council's green credentials.
It's all about balance, because let's face it, it's wrong to actually pull trees out the ground. It's wrong to drive a car. It's wrong to actually fly an aeroplane. But it's all about balance. It's all about balance, because let's face it, it's wrong to actually pull trees out the ground. It's wrong to drive a car. It's wrong to actually fly an aeroplane. But it's all about balance. It's all about balance, because let's face it, it's wrong to actually pull trees out the ground. It's wrong to drive a car. It's wrong to actually fly an aeroplane. But it's all about balance. 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 About balance, because let's face it, it's wrong to actually pull trees out the ground. It's wrong to drive a car. It's wrong to actually fly an aeroplane. But it's all about balance. 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 It's all about balance, because let's face it, it's wrong to actually pull trees out the ground. It's wrong to drive a car. It's wrong to actually fly an aeroplane. But it's all about balance. 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 About balance. And as far as Longridge is concerned, we know it as Site 44. That is a good green space. It's within an existing residential area. We stated about balance. And as far as Longridge is concerned, we know it as Site 44. That is a good green space. It's within an existing residential area. We stated about balance. And as far as Longridge is concerned, we know it as Site 44. That is a good green space. It's within an existing residential area. We stated about balance. And as far as Longridge is concerned, we know it as Site 44. That is a good green space. It's within an existing residential area. We stated 25 years ago we were going to build on it, and we need to build houses. And one of the biggest problems in Middlesbrough is that we've lost an awful lot of population, something like 20,000 people over the last 20 years, because they've been looking for the right type of housing, and Middlesbrough hasn't had it. So what we've got to do is address the imbalance of housing stock that we have, and this is a good way of doing it. Because when you look at Middlesbrough, 53% of our housing stock is Band-Aid properties. The imbalance is clear, everybody can see it, and therefore we've got to address it. And one of the ways that we can do it is by building on this space.
But surely by building on green space you make Middlesbrough a less attractive place for people to come and live in, defeating the object of what you've just described.
Yeah, but the thing is this, it's all about balance, and we've got to actually, make the population rise. The only way that you're going to attract people into a town or city is by providing the right kind of housing stock. We haven't got that in Middlesbrough. The stock is completely imbalanced. And it is all about balance. You see, if I had my way, people wouldn't be driving cars, they wouldn't be, getting on aeroplanes, they wouldn't be pulling trees out. We've got to have this balance because it's all about life. And you've also got a rising population across the world, and that's one of the biggest problems. So where the environmentalists are concerned, your real environmentalists, they talk about balance. And I've spoken to people like Jonathan Porritt from Forum of the Future who would say, yes, you've got to actually build on some of these green spaces. And this has been there on the stocks of the council for 25 years. The people in the locality have known that. And frankly, I really do question the environmental credentials of some of the demonstrators where this particular site's concerned. Because when I speak to some of them, they just don't want houses on the site. But it's very easy for people to actually use the environmental ticket where a subject like this is concerned.
And moving on to the conference you have today and what you're doing at the moment, what do you hope to achieve as Mayor environmentally in Middlesbrough, and what do you think the major challenges you face are?
Well, we've got massive challenges. I mean, not just in Middlesbrough, but the whole of the country and the whole of the world. And again, it goes back to this word balance. A rising population across the world, if it continues like this over the next 50 years, it's going to be very difficult. And climate change is a massive, massive problem. Now, in my view, what we've got to do in Middlesbrough, we've got to actually live our lives. We've got to build houses. We've just got to live on a daily basis. But there's some things that we can do to actually look after the environment. And that's what we're trying to do in Middlesbrough. And there's a whole host of things that we're trying to move along. For example, the Middlehaven development. We want to try and make that carbon neutral. There's other experiments that we've taken a long way, where the hydrogen economy is concerned. Clean air. People have often said to me that the air in Middlesbrough is actually cleaner than probably on the Cleveland Hills for one reason or another. So there's an awful lot of things that we're doing, but it's just going to be small incremental improvements as time goes on. Because let's face it, when you look at the environment and climate change, it's probably took us about 100 years to get out of the mess that we're in, and it's going to take more than a year or two to get out of it. But you've got to start somewhere. But in my opinion, for real change to occur, you need a massive step change. And to a large extent, that'll be led by the country, but it'll be led by America as well.
The ever-robust views of Ray Mallon. Of course, last week we discussed Tory plans to